Well, it's 11:05. I'm going to get started. So welcome everyone. Good morning. I'm Odie Monde with the Community Foundation of Sarasota County. My title is Community Knowledge Manager, where I help with planning our nonprofit trainings, as well as project planning and helping out with the Giving Challenge that we just announced, I think, last week. So 2024 Giving Challenge, April 9 through 10, noon to noon next year. So keep an eye out on our nonprofit newsletters for future planning and future trainings and all that for the Giving Challenge. But this webinar isn't a Zoom webinar, it's a meeting. We wanted to keep it informal and let you know that if you have any questions during the webinar, you can either unmute yourselves and go ahead and ask your questions, or feel free to put them in the chat. Mackenzie, who's a part of GiveGab as well, she's a part of their customer support team, and she knows a lot about the peer-to-peer fundraising suite. So she'll be happy to answer questions in the chat as well. But I just wanted to pass the mic over to Kelsey, who's our project director at GiveGab, who works with us at the foundation for the giving partner. So Kelsey, go on ahead.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me here today. I'm really excited, everyone. Let me share my screen with you and we can walk through today's presentation. All right, perfect. So as Odie mentioned, my name is Kelsey Rosbach. I'm a project director here at GiveGab, Becoming Montera. I work largely with the Giving Partners side of the house, but am familiar with the Giving Challenge and all the great things that your organizations are doing in the community. So I'm really excited to be here today to talk about some great features that you can take advantage of and leverage, all within the GiveGab's suite. And Odie, obviously, as our manager of community knowledge from the foundation. So thank you so much for having me and organizing this. And I think it's going to be a really great time to talk to everyone. So just some general housekeeping items. As Odie had mentioned, we definitely want to hear from people throughout the webinar. So you can feel free to leverage that chat box to send in any questions. I'll be sure to, pause throughout. And I encourage you, if you feel comfortable, don't hesitate to unmute yourself if you want to ask the question yourself, or you have some clarification that maybe I'm not quite getting to the answer you were hoping for. Again, we want to keep this formal, informal, and comfortable so that everyone is able to kind of ask questions and kind of get the information that they need. So in today's webinar, I say webinar, sorry, it just it slips off the tongue. I've been giving a couple this week. So in today's kind of training, I want to talk about a couple of different things. I'm going to start with what are the key differences between the Giving Partner, the Giving Challenge, and what we call the GiveGab Fundraising Suite. And then I'm going to walk through just a general overview of what that fundraising suite is. I'm going to touch on some of the subscription fees. And then I'm going to walk you through the difference between fundraising campaigns and fundraising events. So at this point, I'll note that today I'm going to do a live demo of both setting up a campaign and setting up an event so that you can see what that looks like and feels like from your own admin dashboard. For the slides that you're going to be able to download after today, I'm going to have screenshots in there. So just know that the live webinar is going to be a little different than the slides you might download, which will have screenshots of kind of what I'm walking through in the live demo. And then from there, I want to talk a little bit too about just general fundraising strategies, right? And how you might be able to leverage those in thinking about some of your overall fundraising ideas and plans for the year. And then certainly last, we'll talk about next steps and reminders, questions, and key takeaways to walk away with today. All right, so as Odie mentioned, we have the Giving Challenge announced for 2024, which is going to be noon to noon, April 9th through the 10th. One of the key things that you can start with is ensuring that your profile is current on the Giving Partner. You can log into your profile, and this link will bring you to that sign in for the Giving Partner. And you can make sure to update your organization's information, your needs, your successes. A really great resource that you have available to you is your nonprofit toolkit, and following that checklist to really identify any additional information that you might need. That's a great first step to make sure that you're prepared as you kind of find more information coming from the foundation in the upcoming months regarding the Giving Challenge. All right, so jumping now into, again, the difference between these three really incredible fundraising resources that you have available to you. So you have the Giving Partner, the Giving Challenge, and then what we're referring to today, which is our fundraising suite through GiveGab, Becoming Bonterra. So all three of these are different kind of features, have different needs or different goals, I guess, behind them. But in the center of all of these is where that peer-to-peer fundraising language comes, right? So all of three of these offer the opportunity to leverage peer-to-peer fundraising as a tool. And that's where I think I want to make sure that we clarify and make sure there isn't any confusion around the difference. So in starting with the Giving Partner, this is a year-round community site that allows you as a nonprofit to kind of highlight key information about your organization, right? But one of the key things about the Giving Partner is that this platform, the Giving Partner, is managed and branded by the Community Foundation of Sarasota County. It is an online resource for informed charitable decisions, and it does connect philanthropy and the community, but ultimately, who manages and looks at that and creates the data structure and does all of the behind the scenes around that is the foundation, right? And then you have the Giving Challenge, right, which is actually the Giving Day itself, which is separate from the Giving Partner. You have a whole different profile for this, right? And again, this is branded and managed by the Community Foundation of Sarasota County, but it's an online giving event for the community to come together to raise as much money as possible for a local nonprofit, right? So definitely more geared towards a goal of raising funds and fundraising, whereas in the Giving Partner, right, it serves more as a database, as a source of information, a place for donors and community members to maybe find resources within the community. So two kind of different pieces there. And then as we jump into today, I'm going to talk about the fundraising suite that's available through GiveGab. So this is purchased, managed, and branded by you as the nonprofit, right? You really get to own this. It's yours to do what you'd like with. And I think that's a really key differentiator here between the other two options that you have that the foundation offers as opportunities for the community. It expands your online fundraising tools by giving you, again, fundraising campaigns and events with some really great features to it. And as noted, peer-to-peer fundraising is a tool that can be used in all three of these avenues, right? It is a tool that I think, depending on your goal and which platform you're choosing, may not make sense for every single individual. But it's certainly a really incredible tool that can create a lot of return on investment for you as an organization. So we really want to make sure that we highlight what that looks like. And again, it plays a huge role in the fundraising suite as well. All right, so I'm going to pause there really quick before I dive into the fundraising suite, and I'll actually go back. Does anyone have any clarifying questions or anything around, the Giving Partner, the Giving Challenge, and the fundraising suite that we're talking today that I can try and help answer? Not seeing any, so I'm going to keep moving on, but certainly if something comes up, like I said, I'll kind of pause throughout, and I'm happy to kind of go back and answer any questions that might come through. All right, so our fundraising suite allows you to create an unlimited number of campaigns and events when you're subscribed. It's integrated peer-to-peer fundraising is available for both the campaign and event features. You're able to create automatic email reminders to peer-to-peers to help keep them engaged through this feature. And again, it also offers a full suite of analytics for both your campaigns and events. And I'm going to do a live demo to show you kind of what those screens look like. You also have a really great embeddable donate button that's available to you. So if you do end up creating a campaign or event, you can actually create a donate button that will live on, say, your own web page or website. So that way you're not having to direct traffic, or if someone stumbles upon your website, they might choose to give directly through that. And that's a really great feature as well. It's really easy to opt into. Once you opt in, it will automatically show in your menu on your admin dashboard. As I mentioned, the subscription fees are annually, quarterly, or monthly, and they kind of differentiate depending on which plan you decide to go with. But it does still have platform and credit card fees associated with it as well for processing those donations. All right.
Kelsey, we do have a question in the chat. Caroline asked, does the fundraising suite allow you to make a website specific to the organization site?
That's a great question. So it does allow you to create a fundraising page that's specific to your organization or what you might be fundraising on behalf of, right? It's not meant to replace a website per se, as much as it is to create a really easy to use place to host a, one instance of a fundraising ask, right? Whether that be a campaign or an event. All right, so jumping into fundraising campaigns. So as a just general overview, there's a lot of this that you, again, as the nonprofit get to customize that you might see as having, a little bit more ownership over than you might in the Giving Partner or the Giving Challenge. It's customizable both in images, colors, and templates. You can customize your donation levels. Again, there's peer-to-peer fundraising, and another fun one is team fundraising as well. You can embed video content, you can have social sharing prompts, and again, that automated thank you message is really nice, again, to make sure that those donors get that tax-deductible receipt right when they make that donation. All right, so at this time, I'm going to jump over to kind of a live demo to show you what this would look like. So right now I'm on a test organization. You can see Kelsey Test, and this is just an admin dashboard, right? And you can see, let me refresh this quick to make sure that we're, all right. And you can see here on this left-hand panel, I've got my home. I've now, because I have fundraising campaigns enables, events. And then you can see here where I have the Giving Partner. So again, this is going to be your year-round site to show, your custom data structure, all of the information that's asked and required from the foundation. And then you have your giving days, and this is where you're going to find your giving challenge, right? If you participated in the Giving Challenge for more than 1 year, you'll see both of those listed. And when you register for 2024, you'll see that here as well. So that's where you can navigate between the 3 different places, right? So the fundraising suite that is a subscription is your fundraising campaign here and your events. Whereas your Giving Partner is going to be, again, that year-round site that's more of a community database of information and a place to engage with the community around philanthropic needs and information about your organization. And then the Giving Day, which is that one day really geared towards raising as much funds for organizations in the community as possible. So starting with fundraising campaigns, you're going to see this section here, and you can click Start a New Campaign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a pretend campaign. So we'll go with Save the Giraffes as my example. And then I'm going to tag Save the Giraffes. I'll set myself a fundraising goal. And then I can choose what my launch date is, right? My launch date and end date. So let's say I'm starting to plan for, a May 1st through, the end of June fundraising campaign. I can customize the time that it ends as well as the time that it starts. And you can also here, so you can enable peer-to-peer fundraising as well as team fundraising. So I'll show you what both of those look like. And I'll click Create Campaign. So once I click Create Campaign, it's automatically going to bring me to, where I can edit my campaign with a little bit more information. It's going to drop me on my Tell Your Story section, which is where you can kind of enter, your appeal, what your campaign should be. We are looking to save all the giraffes. Please consider joining us. And I'm just going to plop in some kind of random content in here so that way you have something to see when we go to the live side. All right. So let me scoop back to my downloads. All right. And we'll go ahead. We'll insert a photo. We'll save that here. Okay. So that's my general story section. I'm able to, again, kind of create a cover photo. Let me see. I'm just gonna do, all right. I open that up and it's gonna allow me to kind of crop it so that it fits the space that's available. Can kind of move it up and down, which is really nice. And then I can create a story image as well. Let's open that up. And again, it's a really easy tool to just kind of manipulate your photo. I can make my photo bigger. If I want to zoom in, I can zoom it out as well as rotate my photo as well. All right. So then if I have, again, this is where that video piece comes in. If I had a custom video for my campaign, I could definitely do that. And then if I want a, certain template, you can kind of look and see what they are. And again, there's a nice support article just below that kind of shows you what the different layouts look like, right? So you do have different templates that you can pick from based on maybe what you're looking for. And so there's some great ways. And again, your cover photo might impact that. You may just have a certain look or feel that you like better than another, but you can kind of pick that from here as well. The other nice part is that you can update the colors. So, with the Giving Partner and the Giving Challenge, like I mentioned, that's branded by the Community Foundation. This is an opportunity for you to bring in your organization's, main logo, main colors to tie your campaign together to your branding and marketing, right? So I'm going to click save on this, and then I'll quickly walk through some of the other areas that you can customize. So this general information is what you filled out when you first created the campaign. So you can always go back and edit it if you'd like. You have that custom thank you message. Again, you can create a custom thank you message. You can embed a video or upload an image as well. You can also create status updates. So again, let your donor know like where you're at with the campaign, how their contribution, and you can add those status updates in here. You can create a title as well as that. And then you can add your donation forms. So again, you can display those donation levels on the page. If I go in here and I collect, a couple of my images here, I'm just going to keep this simple so that I can move forward. Let's say I want to create a $25, help feed giraffes, save that here. I can add another one. And again, we really recommend, I'd say no more than 3 to 5, donation levels. And the reason being is that like when a user is using it from a mobile view, you don't want them to have to scroll too far, right? So you want to make sure that you're kind of keeping it simple and using that. So expenses. And the donation levels are a really nice way to talk about, what the impact is that donation might be having, right? Very similar to like what we would tell you on the giving days. Those donation levels are visually engaging and a great opportunity to highlight maybe a particular need that you have for your organization or a particular part of the campaign that you're highlighting. You're also able to set up matches and challenges for your profile as well. So maybe your board is creating a match for you, or you have a challenge, part of your goal. And then you can manage your fundraisers here. So again, you can set up their fundraising goal, help create a story for them, as well as a team story. So that's the edit button. Let me show you. It's going to be pretty rough sketch here, but at least you can see from a front facing side what that looks like, right? You're going to have your campaign title, your tagline. This would pull in your organization's name. You're going to have a thermometer that'll help you reach to your goal, how much is left. You have a fundraising call to action. So again, if your peer-to-peer fundraisers are a part of this, and then you have this great section down here for that whole story section, as well as your fundraiser wall and kind of your donor wall here. And that's just kind of a general, like I said, this is a rough sketch of what a campaign would look like. And then you have some really great tools on the back end associated with that campaign. So as I mentioned, you have a really robust amount of analytics. So you have your recent donations raised. It's going to break it down by date. And then if you had donations, it would show you kind of for each day how much was raised. It's going to show you all your donations raised through the campaign. And then it's also going to break it down. So how many donors did you have and how many of the donors covered the fees? How many fundraisers did you have? And what percentage of, the dollars raised was through your peer-to-peer fundraisers? How much have you raised so far on GiveGab? And when it says raised outside of GiveGab, that's when you add those offline donations. So if you have checks or cash coming in, you can attribute those so that they all live in one place. It'll also give you your average online donation, your average number of online donors, and your number of repeat online donors. And then it'll also show you, say, your traffic sources and your donation sources. This is where you can manage all the donations that come in specifically for this campaign, which is really great. You can download them as a CSV if you need to upload them into your own system. Again, you can always add a cash or check donation to your campaign through here, and you can search for your donor information by searching by name or email. You can also manage any of your fundraising champions or your peer-to-peer fundraisers or your fundraising teams through this tab here. Again, you'll have the option of downloading into a CSV. You can add them yourselves, or if you have a, upload, you have a number, say you have 30 of them you want to upload as fundraisers, you can do that here as well. And you can message everyone through the platform as well. All right, I'm going to quick pause there and see if there's any questions in regards to fundraising campaigns before I shift gears to fundraising events. Okay, so there's one question that says, is GiveGab ideal for, let's see. Thank you, Mackenzie. Okay. Is the GiveGab suite ideal for banquets, galas, purchasing of tickets, seating charts, etc.? That's a really great question. So I think the event side might answer some of your question in regards to like an event piece. So if you have a gala or a purchasing of tickets, something along those lines, the events feature has a little bit more of like some of the information that ties to that. So there's the ability to buy, say, swag, right? Like a t-shirt or a hat or something along those lines associated with it. There's also an ability to buy a ticket per se. And I can walk through that. So I think, Kimberly, I'm going to move forward with showing the fundraising piece. And if you have questions specific to maybe to the use case you're thinking through, feel free to unmute yourself and let me know kind of what you're thinking and we can talk about that. All right, so jumping to events. Again, very similar user experience. So I'm going to kind of keep this one maybe a little bit quicker, but please don't hesitate to tell me to pause if there's a point in which I've gone too fast. So you can create an event by, again, clicking this blue button that says create event. You're going to be asked to create some general information again. So in this case, I'm going to do a turkey trot. Let's see. Thanksgiving family 5K. Oops, sorry, guys. My spelling is not on point today. All right, and we'll set a fundraising goal of $3,000. And this is one of those, so you can only count donations towards the event. What this means, and it outlines as well, is if you have a registration cost or the ability to purchase swag items, such as like a t-shirt, they can count towards your goal if that makes sense, but it may not make sense in this instance, right? So that's one of those things. If it's a gala, right, and maybe their ticket goes towards your fundraising goal, you can have it count towards that when they're doing that. And then you can set your dates. So let's say I want to set it to today, say through, mid-April. And then again, you do have the ability to enable peer-to-peer fundraising and team fundraising. All right, so I create that campaign, and very similar to the fundraising events, it's going to land me on my Tell Your Story section. Again, you're going to have a really robust story editor here that you can embed images and things like that. I can show you too. I helped a local food pantry run a turkey trot this fall, and I'll show you what that looks like from like a more polished, I guess, finished event. Again, all the same like customization tools in there, but you will see that you have a number of different tabs up here from the fundraising campaigns. So if you have event fundraising, this is where you can include a registration fee, right? So you can say, maybe it's, $20 for everyone to register. The other option too, if you don't have one flat rate registration fee, is that you can add, say, registration types, right? So if you wanted to do like your kids are only going to be, let me see, you can see that it's auto-populating for me. Maybe your kids and under were $5, right? And then your adults, turkey gobbler is still going to be $15. So you can kind of add those again, and that kind of aligns with maybe that event or that gala, right? You might have a certain level, like a sponsor level for a table or something along those lines that might, come at different tiered costs depending at what they're looking for. You also have the ability to have a coupon code. So this is great if, say, someone wants to pay via check, right? Maybe you can create a check coupon code. You can say, this is my check and it's going to bring my fee down to $0. Or maybe you're giving, discounts to students, right? You could do a student code where it's half the cost. So instead of $15, it's going to be $7.50. And that's what all of those. Oh, is it not? It might have to be whole numbers. Sorry about that, guys. It's that's why. That's what it's mad at me for. Okay. So, and then you can also do an event waiver. So in the instance of, say, like a 5K or, any other outside event, or maybe you might want an event waiver or people to sign some kind of form before they participate, you can do that. And you can also upload documents, right? Maybe there's an informational document. Maybe there's a map of the run that you want to be able to share, or you want to be able to share, an outline agenda of the evening. You can upload that for people to be able to reference. And then you have your registration form. So here you can ask to, collect their mailing address and phone number or birthday if you'd like. And then you can create a custom registration survey. So this is a great opportunity to collect information, and it mirrors exactly the same kind of registration you might fill out when registering for the Giving Challenge or the Giving Partner, right? You can create your own open-ended question, a single select question, or a multi-select question as a way to collect information about those individuals. The swag items is where you might be able to, again, you can have a t-shirt, might be selling, in that case, tickets, something along those lines around that, and those can be purchased in addition to registering for whatever event you have. So the other tools are very similar. Again, you have a custom thank you message. This is your thank you message for your donors. This is your thank you message for your registrants, right? So if you have a 5K and you have people registering to run versus just being a donor, you can have two separate thank you messages for those that are participating. Again, it allows you to have a video or a thank you image. You can create status updates along the way. You're also able to create some donation levels, and then you have a fundraiser. So really great tools there that you're able to see. And then, like I said, I'm going to show you quick a live form so that you can see what that looks like of an event that has already happened. So and I can also show you on here okay, so this is actually the peer-to-peer version of it, but let me get to the organization. That's not what I want. Sorry about that, guys. Give me 1 second.
You did a good job. You exceeded your goal.
I did. Thank you. I'm very fortunate to have some incredible friends and family that also are very passionate about our local food pantry. So I feel always grateful that I get a chance to do that every year. All right. There we go. Okay. So, all right. So oh, no. That's fine. Okay. Wrong place. Okay. One more time. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. Okay. So like I said, this is one that I helped our local food pantry run as an example. It pulls in their logo. We're able to customize kind of the colors for what we thought matched. And then they have their own donation levels, right? So they wanted to highlight some of the impact that it would have. This is where you can see those fundraisers that signed up, to raise funds for the organization. And then this is all built out within that story editor, right? So we embedded an info, we embedded their logo, as well as just some key stats. And then if we look at the peer-to-peer fundraising page, like I said, it's a great opportunity, for the fundraiser. They can tell their own story. They can embed their own image or pull in their own, their own personal profile image. They can tell their story here at the top. But the nice part is that even when they do that, it does pull in all the key information from your own profile as well. So again, a lot of the same features that you see in the fundraising campaign, but I think the key difference is, do you have registrants? Is there a need to collect, some kind of fee from people? Are they signing up for something versus just a campaign that might be running, or some of the differences there? All right. Okay, so that being said, we've walked through fundraising events and just, again, very similar in kind of what's customizable to it, registration forms. You do have those multiple registration types, which can be really helpful. You can also have the ability to multiple register people at one time, right? So let's say I'm going to register my whole family for a fundraising event. I can do myself, my husband, and my 2 kids all at the same time. Within the events, you also have like those swag items. So raffle tickets, t-shirts, hats, gloves, any of those. I don't say gloves. I'm in upstate New York. I don't know how often you guys need them in sunny Florida. But you have a lot of, pieces there. And then let me show you the analytics. I don't want to forget that piece of it. So again, when you click the manage, you're going to see again, very similar analytics here. You're going to see the same donation tab, your same fundraising, but you're going to have a new tab called registrants. So this is going to tell you how many people registered. If you have those different registration types, it's actually going to break them down for you right at the top. And you're going to be able to search for them here, as well as download a CSV or register a participant yourself. So that's a really key piece of the platform that I think is super helpful as well when it comes to running an event. Jeff, that is a great question. I will, all right, let me scooch back up. Okay. How do people set up their pages if there aren't employees? Odie, that's a great question. So you can manage the admins for your organization the same that you would anyone else, right? So if you're a volunteer organization, you're going to go to your supporters tab. And this is where you're going to be able to add whoever has full admin access. Let's say I want to add Mackenzie as, a person on my profile. So what I do is I click this, it'll, confirm that I do want to give Mackenzie admin access to this profile. And that will give Mackenzie all the access that she needs in the back end, right? So that's kind of, as an organization, you get to choose who has all the editing access to these tools or these resources.
But I'm going to jump in there because that was my question. But if you had 50 different people who were they don't know, they haven't had training, they haven't done this. It sounds to me like the organization's going to have to set up each one of these pages, because they're not necessarily, I don't know that I want a volunteer that's just, says, oh, I want to help, have access to all of that information and could change something or isn't going to know how to set up the page, or et cetera.
That's a great point. Yeah. So that's one of going back to the slide around like the difference between, the three different platforms is, this is really you as a nonprofit owning, these fundraising campaigns and events. As a peer-to-peer fundraiser, they have a little bit of editing access, right? But they don't have everything. So I encourage, you as your organization for someone to be the point person to create the fundraising campaign or the event, and kind of owning that process as the nonprofit as part of your fundraising strategy. And then your volunteers can set up their own peer-to-peer fundraising page where they only have a small slice of what that would look like. Let me show, I can show you the back end of my own peer-to-peer fundraising page from the turkey trot that I did so that you can see what that looks like. So if we were to, so as, not an admin to, the organization and just someone who signs up as, a peer-to-peer fundraiser for an event or a campaign, these are the only tools that I have available. I have the ability to tell a story. I can create a custom name. So if I wanted to, fundraise on behalf of my family, right, instead of just myself, I can create that. I can set a goal for myself. And there again is that image. I can tell my own story. I can make a donation to my own campaign. I can reach out. I can send email or access contents. It gives me my link to be able to share socially. And then it tells me, did I thank all of these individuals? As you can see, I did thank them, but I did not check them off in here. But these are the only tools as a peer-to-peer fundraiser that I have, right? So that's one of those things where you need to delineate, who takes on what roles, depending on when, you set that campaign up. All right, Jeff, your question was around cost. I'm going to let us get through the next couple of slides, and then I have a link that will show you where you can find a live demo of this again, as well as like the cost for that.
So Kelsey, can I jump in on a question on the admin side of that?
Yep.
So we are in the process of actually using GiveGab right now for an upcoming campaign. My question is that we have multiple campaigns running based on our locations. On the admin side, is there a way to designate which, for us, it's our branch directors, which campaign they have access to as an admin? Or do they end up with access to all of them?
That's a really great question. So they would have access to all of them. There's not a way to only give them access to one campaign versus the others.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I was not missing a step in setting it up.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to jump forward, and I think Odie has a great poll for us too. And I'm just going to ask, have any of you use peer-to-peer fundraising, right? And this could be for the giving partner, the giving challenge, or using GiveGab's, fundraising suite and leveraging peer-to-peer fundraising. And what I'd love to hear is, what have been some of your biggest challenges around leveraging peer-to-peer fundraising? And maybe we can talk through some of that. So as I'm going through that, I'm waiting for some people to respond and maybe put some insight into the chat. I'm going to talk through kind of what peer-to-peer fundraising is and why it's so effective. So peer-to-peer fundraising is really effective because it does multiply your reach to multiple donors. It really helps result in a more authentic outreach and messaging, and leverages social media, in a really incredible way, and help and increase your organization's overall social media presence. It also establishes just another avenue of engagement for your organization. So the example I give a lot is, maybe you have a, low capacity donor that isn't able to give multiple times a year, right? But maybe they're super active on social media or they want to get engaged. Having them be a peer-to-peer fundraiser and sharing out that messaging through social media and through their own network is a really great way to engage that donor. And give them something, that they can really be proud of. The other opportunity too is that, you're going to run different fundraising campaigns throughout the year and you're going to engage with your donors in different ways. So you might have a high capacity donor that, gives once a year, say, at the very beginning of the year. And that leaves the whole rest of the year to continue to steward that donor, right? Maybe you run a spring gala, maybe you have a fall fundraising event or a year-end event, right? Those are great opportunities to ask that donor to share their testimony of why they give, why do they support your organization, what does that mean for them, and maybe engage them in that peer-to-peer fundraising strategy as well. So 4 kind of steps for fundraising success is, again, selecting those individuals with the loudest voices. One of the biggest things that I emphasize is that it's quality over quantity, and picking the right peer-to-peer fundraiser from the start, right? Making sure that your peer-to-peer fundraisers understand that they can communicate through storytelling, and that's a vital part of it. And it can really help, remove that direct ask. You also want to think about stewarding your fundraisers and making it fun. So when thinking about identifying your key peer-to-peer fundraisers, you really want to start with those that are closest to your organization, right? That are maybe the most connected in some capacity. So board members, family, friends, staff, maybe volunteers or beneficiaries. But as I mentioned, quality over quantity is the key here. Not every person connected with your organization is going to fit that peer-to-peer fundraising, right? Their skill set may not be in, posting and marketing and sharing out on social media and talking about your organization in that more public fashion, right? And that's okay. So I think a key piece is really thinking about who you want to ask, who's going to enjoy doing this kind of task with your organization and get the most return on investment from their standpoint. Another key hurdle that I think a lot of people struggle with peer-to-peer fundraising is helping them understand that, they're connected with your organization, but they've never been asked to fundraise before. And so they don't know what that looks like. And so helping them understand that they can use storytelling instead of just putting out a message there that says, donate today, come give to this organization, right? They can share their personal connection to your organization. And here are some great questions to start prompting that storytelling, right? What made you get involved? What do you wish others knew about the organization? Why do you enjoy, connecting yourself with this organization? What is your favorite program? And how do you feel after you've worked with them, volunteered with them, and spent your time with them? And certainly it's really important for you as an organization to make sure you're stewarding those fundraisers. You really want to make sure that you are stewarding them in a way that you would steward, some of your biggest donors. We find across our giving days that when organizations are able to effectively leverage peer-to-peer fundraising and really, engage with them, that they raise 4 times as much as an organization that doesn't, right? And that can be just organizations that have 1 to 2 really excited people that are out there kind of broadening their reach, right? It's also really important to just recognize that, it is an investment and it's something that, your capacity may be what limits you from leveraging this further or taking it to the next level. And just making sure that overall the experience that your fundraiser having is a really positive one. That's a key part of it. You also want to think about having fun. You can certainly think about creating friendly competition amongst your fundraisers. There are so many templated graphics, communications, and sample content that you can share with those fundraisers so they don't have to recreate the wheel. And always think about, what experience would you like and what does that look like and how are some ways that you can continue to help that be fun? So I'm going to pause. I see there was a question or a challenge in here. Our challenge with peer-to-peer fundraising has been engagement, particularly with messaging and maintaining momentum during the campaign. Yes, Michael, I completely can sympathize with that. I think that's a really key piece. And that's why, when I look at timelines for peer-to-peer fundraisers, I almost keep them in like a 2 to 3 week window, right? I might identify them as a peer-to-peer fundraiser, encourage them, or, kind of get their verbal commitment that they want to participate, maybe 6 months ahead as I'm planning the event. But then, you really want to help them, again, knowing that they're juggling many things, help them kind of plan it out, right? Maybe you create a templated plan of like, okay, here are the 3 weeks that you're going to engage with this campaign, right? Week 3, you're going to have your profile set up. You're, going to share out 1 to 2 social media posts. And then in week 2, you're going to, do X, Y, and Z, and really kind of helping that. And this kind of goes along with like this slide here of setting your fundraisers up for success. Starting early, educating them on what the ask is, being clear and transparent with your goals, setting expectations, and providing them any resources. I always tell organizations that you have marketing materials, you have a goal, you have many things that you're already using in your own kind of communications. Create a library that your peer-to-peer fundraiser can use and access so that they can use it as well, right? Ideally, you want that messaging to come in many different avenues, and they're a great resource to leverage, and it helps them feel like they don't have to create their own content. Kimberly, we had a great success with peer-to-peer. Communication is key. And yes, you're 100% right, Kimberly. I think communication, engaging them, setting them up, but it can be a really great success. I do say, I know that it's a commitment. It certainly requires a level of capacity and time from your organization that's hard to measure. But ultimately, the return on investment can be great. So I always tell organizations, start small. Think about 1 to 2 individuals that might be a good fit for this, and really hone in on the relationship with them, right? And then, as it gets a little bit easier, as they kind of get used to it, then maybe you can use like a train the trainer model, right? Where your peer-to-peer fundraisers that are more experienced can help broaden the reach and bring in new ones and take some of that onus off of you as an organization. But definitely can be very successful. All right. So I know we're coming up on time. I promise I only have a couple more slides. All right. So here are just some key, these are all clickable support articles that you can link out to. So, bring a campaign to life. This is a just overall collection of different support articles around our fundraising campaigns, right? And what does that look like? What is the difference between a fundraising campaign and event? Running an impactful event, how to add a peer-to-peer fundraiser. Again, that embeddable donate button, what does that look like? How do I do that? And how does it interact with my own website? So these were just key support articles. Editing, reviewing, and reconciling your donations is a really key piece after the campaign that obviously your finance person wants to. So again, these are all just support articles that I thought were relevant and helpful. And I don't want to forget the question earlier in regards to, what it costs, right? So in this case, let me switch down. You're going to go to peer-to-peer campaigns is what you're looking for. I'm going to click on here. And on this page, I'm going to plop this in the chat bubble as well so that everyone has access to it. Okay. You're going to see the peer-to-peer suite. This is a live demo, very similar to what I showed you today. And then you're going to be able to see here some different pricing options. So we have an annual plan, a quarterly plan, and a monthly plan. And with each of those, the cost of the plan changes with the platform fee, right? So there is always a 2.5% plus 30 cents credit card fee from Stripe, who processes all of our donations. But then the platform fee adjusts based on kind of your, again, the cadence in which you're paying for a plan, and the percentage of the platform fee. Know that donors always have the option to cover those fees through the donation flow as well. And we typically find that donors will cover anywhere from, around 75% of those fees on behalf of an organization. All right. So some key reminders and key dates. Just want to, and Odie, feel free to jump in if I'm miscommunicating anything here. So grants under $10,000 to help improve nonprofits' ability to fulfill its mission by strengthening its capacity. You can submit that application by May 1st of 2023. Make sure to indicate fundraising as the capacity building focus of your application. And there's a link here for that particular grant. And Odie, is there anything else you wanted to share here?
No, just saying that I am dropping this in the chat as well. And that's mainly for like, if you're an organization who feels maybe that your org can really utilize the fundraising suite, but maybe doesn't have the funds to purchase a subscription this year. If you apply to that grant application, we will consider funding that first year subscription. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Odie. All right. And this is a slide I'm sure many of you have seen. We're here to support you. And this includes, even, through the Giving Partner, through the Giving Challenge, and if you choose to, leverage our fundraising suite. So we have our help center, which I pointed out to a little bit. We also have a blog, which has some really great, just general fundraising strategies. You can always get in touch with our chat support team through email or through that little blue chat bubble. And we are always happy to help you. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and know that this isn't just for you. So I think one of the questions was around like, how do I help my peer-to-peer fundraiser set up this profile without giving them all this access, right? If they're having trouble setting up their profile or they have questions, they can always write into the chat bubble as well. And we can help walk them through setting up their peer-to-peer fundraising profile and kind of give them those tips that they might need as well. All right. And then questions. Okay. Can you please repeat the Stripe credit card processing fee? That's a great question. So the Stripe credit card, and I can add a slide into the downloads, to the downloadable slide deck as well, so it kind of spells it out a little better. The Stripe fee is 2.5% plus 30 cents per donation. That's the credit card processing fee. If we look at, and the platform fee is on top of that depending, right? So if you did an annual plan with a 2% platform fee, the fees would be 2% or 4.5% plus 30 cents per donation, right? Whereas if you went with the 4% annual fee, it would be 6.5% plus 30 cents per transaction. So same thing down the kind of down here, the credit card fee always remains the same. And I think the second part of your question, did I hear that your org covers those fees as part of paid fundraising suite services? No, I think to just make sure. So donors, when they go through the donation flow, do have the option to cover fees on behalf of the organization. So there's a checkbox that they can say, yes, I'd like to cover these fees so that 100% of my intended donation goes to the organization. If they uncheck that, then, the fees will be removed from the donation when it goes to payout. The other part that I want to make sure to just cover is I think what Odie was referring to with like the granting part is that they would help cover the subscription costs. So in this case, if it was a monthly plan, the $200 is what the foundation, I think Odie was referring to an annual plan. So, if it was $948 is what that grant might cover if you were, awarded that. So a little bit different in kind of the ways that they break down there. Well, thank you everyone for today. Again, we're here if you have any questions. I know we're right at the top of the hour. Odie, is there anything else I can help cover? I'm sorry. I think I went a little in depth on all of the the different features. So I apologize. We ran right up on time.
That was perfect timing, actually. I just want to thank Kelsey and Mackenzie again for joining us today. And thank you so much for going over the fundraising suite for everybody. I hope this was really helpful for all that attended. And if you're looking to decide to go forward with using the fundraising suite, I think it's going to be a great tool for your organization. And again, if you're looking for some funding opportunities with us to cover that, apply to that grant opportunity by May 1st. But you're welcome to email us with any questions. This training was recorded, so I will send the recording as well as the slides and all the information, the links that we went over here today in a follow-up email, probably by tomorrow. So yeah, but if you guys have any questions, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much, Odie. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.